Right, so World's End is tonight in like an hour. I can't lie, I meant to have this out earlier, and I've been back in work recently, and I fell asleep on the couch, and I've only just woken up, and I feel terrible. So I'm just going to speed through these predictions, and it's a shame because I really can't wait for World's End. So, I love World's End. It's one of my favourite pay-per-views, and yes, it is the C2 final. It's going to be so peak! So, we have 2 0-hour matches, which will probably be on and happened by the time this is come out. So, again, I really feel terrible, but who cares? We have got the first one. We've got the Sisters of Sin versus Hyan and Maya World. I'm just happy that Hyan and Maya World are getting a pay-per-view pre-show spot. I think that's really cool. Again, I love when Tony Khan does stuff like this. Maybe if this builds into a little Collision feud, I don't really know. I don't care. But I think they're going to give Sisters of Sin the win. As cool as it begins to give Hyan and Maya World the win, I doubt it. Seems a bit too soon. But again, the miss is just a big deal because the girls have worked hard and they've got the pay-per-view spot. Really cool. Love that for them. Really sick. Our second one is Eddie Kingston's back on 0 Hour, and I'm not particularly thrilled about that, but whatever. And then he's going against Zach Gibson of GYV, set up on Collision in Manchester. I hope Eddie Kingston... I hope he batters him. If Eddie Kingston doesn't win, I will be livid. But Eddie Kingston... I'm not the biggest fan of GYV, but with Zach Gibson, it's weird to see them doing a singles match, but I feel like that's kind of the appeal. But Eddie Kingston's back on 0 Hour. At the title match, and he's back on 0 Hour. What are we doing? But... stuff like this, Eddie Kingston's got to win. If not, let's just wrap it up. But yeah, Eddie Kingston to win. That should be pretty simple. So we're going to go through the card order. Our first one we have on the card is the Mixed Nuts Mayhem match between the Death Riders and the Conglomeration. Now, on the Death Riders, it's Claudio, Yuta, Marina, and Garcia versus Mark Briscoe, Roderick Strong, Orange Cassidy, and Tony Storm. Fine. I feel like this is going to, build the feud between Tony and Marina a bit more. You know, it's kind of the only reason I feel like this match is mixed. Probably get some good grabs. I want to know how far this gets. It feels like this could go into the stadium and, become one of those Anarchy in the Arena types match. But, who knows? I predict, personally, the Death Riders to win, just because they'll need that. Maybe not win. They don't need the win, but you get my point. You know what I mean? Like, the Death Riders are a faction you've got to keep at the top. I know they lose a lot, but it's a big deal when they do. I feel like this feels like a Death Riders win type of situation. But again, I feel like this is just here to favour the feud between Tony and Marina, which all for. Oh baby, we got the Continental Classic semi-finals next. So. Our first semi-final is the first match ever. We have Kyle Fletcher versus Jon Moxley. This shit's gonna fuck up. My God, this is good. This is one of the biggest matches you can do in the company. This is gonna be incredible. Oh my God, I cannot wait for this match. I really can't. I feel like this is again, I say this about a lot of matches, but I really mean it. This is a true match of the year contender on paper, and I cannot wait to see what happens. This is possibly it's the second most eagerly awaited match of the night, and that's just insane to say. Jon Moxley and Kyle Fletcher both on some insane runs. So, I cannot wait just for that to transpire. I think Kyle Fletcher wins. It's mad to say, but I feel like Kyle Fletcher gets the win, and the next semi-final is one of the most anticipated matches in all of wrestling for the last few months. It is finally happening. Kazuchika Okada versus Konosuke Takeshita. Oh my God, this is the most anticipated match of any card for a while. This is incredible. This has to go over 20, 30 minutes. Has to. This has to be brutal. This, again, could be one of the matches of the year. This is what makes World's End and the Continental Classic the shit. Oh my God. The prediction, this could go either way. I feel like, just because of the New Japan ties and just how it's been going, I think Takeshita wins. I feel like they don't want the IWGP champion losing to someone who's already on the Wrestle Dream card as well, but also Takeshita's just had the better year and he's the younger guy. So, I don't think this ends the feud. This will not end the feud. But then, after this, obviously sets up the final, which will probably be the main event. The main event in this, after these predictions, will be a Protashita final. At that point, I don't know who wins. I'm gonna say Takeshita because I said from the start, but the Protashita final. Oh my god, give it an hour. Give it an hour. I don't care. That is incredible. Oh my god, I want, as much as Okada and Moxley would be incredible, Protashita final. That is, oh my god. The storytelling, everything about that. The match itself will be incredible. Yeah, get it done. Get that done. Oh my god, I want, and this, you always do a segment like Ospreay's last year, backstage. Get it done. This is going to be, I feel like this is so alien because it's on the card so down on the post there. And I feel like we just got to it too quick. But that'll be the odds. I think Kenosuke Takeshita does win the Continental Classic. A lot of people predicted. But then if Kyle Fletcher does win it, and that's not a bad option, I think that's a great call. There's no other two guys. I'd rather win. Perfection. And that would be, and I'd do a whole video about the C2 because I think it's been absolutely near enough impeccable. Love the Continental Classic. What a tournament. And all of those matches, all the combinations, the only one that is well, only two that can happen, Fletcher and Okada and Moxley and Takeshita, because we had those matches before, but those matches were great, so who cares? Oh my god, what a company, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. So after this, we have one of our weirdly underwhelming matches of the card. We have Darby Allin versus Gabe Kidd set up last week. No stip. Wild. I don't really know how this goes. If this one feels just like a pace breaker, let's just let us breathe just to get it on. It feels like they're building something with this. We're continuing the Darby and the Death Rider stuff. I feel, who wins this? I mean, Darby makes sense to win it. But then it feels like, because it's so early on, might as well give Gabe Kidd the win. I think they'll give Gabe Kidd the win, personally. But I feel like this is just building to a big stip match, and it should do. It just feels like we've got to get over this match first. It's a bit weird. This shouldn't be the opener, and I normally say that, this could be the opener. This should not be the opener. This is going to be a good, okay, we've had a wild match. Let's just put this in there. Not that it won't be wild, it's Darby Allin. But, you know what I mean? It's got no interest, but not as much as what you expect, and that's not a big deal, but you get my point, you know what I mean? It's a bit wild. So next, we have our AEW Tag Team Championship match, a Chicago Street Fight, a rematch between the FTR and the Bang Bang Gang. Now, I think this match is going to be really good. Juice Robinson, the Bang Bang Gang alone in a Chicago Street Fight is going to be incredible. That works, and I said this last time, and I say it again, if they would have the balls to give the Bang Bang Gang the belts here. They won't, but if they have the balls, they should. And I feel like FTR will win again. I do. I feel like it's just generating more and more heat. I feel like we get a return in this match and segment. I don't know who. I don't know if it's either Colton. It feels like Jay White. It feels like Jay White's inevitable. I feel like we could get Jay White return here. Or even better, we could get Copeland and Christian. So, and then obviously that builds the FTR feud again. But it feels a bit early. I feel like Jay White's more probable because we've been teasing that for a while now. And Chicago Street Fight, they could, if Jay White comes back, I think Bang Bang Gang win. And that could be really cool. But this match, I'm really looking forward to. I'm just looking forward to seeing Juice Robinson in a street match. Last match I remember Juice having this was like a lumberjack match with Hangman a while ago. He was on the ring. That was hilarious. So, yeah. This, give the Bang Bang Bell the belts. That's what I want. They won't do it, but give them the belts, please. After this, we have our AEW Women's Tag Team titles between the Babes of Wrath and Mercedes and Athena. Now, I think this match will be really good. I feel like they'll have to give the Babes of Wrath the win because it feels so early. It feels like, in a way, they should give it to the Mercedes and Athena because it's the more intriguing option. And I don't know, I feel like they're going to have bickering again as they always do, cost themselves. Hopefully setting up a Mercedes and Athena feud, which we've been, wanting that for about over a year now. So, but I feel like Babes of Wrath, prove that they, it's so early on from their title win. So it feels like that's a natural case for them to win. I feel like the match will be good. I look forward to seeing this one, just to, not from a point of interest, more or less, more from the point of, let's see how this one actually goes. That's what I'm really looking forward to see how this match looks in ring, because I feel like it's got the potential. I just look for the women's tag scene, especially with the Babies Rap, to grow. And that's what I want to see in this one. I want to see a bit more growth in this, because we've barely had a chance. Like, they won the titles and had the 8-man tag. It was stupid. But whatever. I think Babes are Raf win this one. Pretty solid call. So, our co-main event is for the AEW Women's World Championship. It's between Jamie Hayter and Chris Statlander. Great build. I'm really looking forward to this match. I'm torn because I feel like Statlander deserves a longer reign. But I then also feel like Jamie Hayter is... I've been calling Jamie for the belt for a while now. I feel, as I was thinking about it today, I feel like Stat will win. Just because I don't feel like this is over. I feel like this is about to start something. I feel like this match will be great. And that you get Statlander and Hayter in a bit of a mini feud. Get that carrying over to about, just the end of Double or Nothing, maybe? And then you finally build the all-in picture with Stat. Because I feel like Stat could hold it to then. She deserves a long reign. Or even by Double or Nothing. But I feel like with Stat, I feel like the vision's being clear from day one. It feels like it's Willow. I feel like Willow's the only one that makes sense for her to drop to. But because she has the tag team belt at this point, and you need to have a big picture between Willow and Stat, it makes sense. I don't know. I feel like I love both women in this match. I'm two of my favorite women's wrestlers, but I feel like Statlander's going to win. I feel like this is the start of their feud. I'd be quite bummed too if Statlander lost, in a way. Even though I'd love Jamie Hayter to win, I'd be thrilled. In the sense of, I feel like Statlander has... Honestly, the character change since she's won this belt been excellent. Just give it... At that point, you're just giving her the Mercedes match and that's it. And honestly, it feels like you can't do the Statlander reign without like a Tekla match at this point. So, let's just... I feel like it's going to be Statlander, and I feel like this will bear on to more. Because... it just feels like you can't have if they do Jamie Hayter wrong by just having this match, and I think personally this has to be a multiple thing. I feel like this builds like you do best of 3 or whatever thing, not best of 3, but you know what I mean. Like Jamie eventually winning, maybe it all in, but I don't know how long you want to build this. I feel like Statlander wins, but this is not the end of the feud. I think that's very key. It can't be the end of the feud, this one. So, our main event of the evening is the Men's World Championship Fatal 4-Way between AEW Men's World Champ Samoa Joe, Swerve Strickland, Hangman Page, and MJF added himself using his contract from All In this year. Now, I feel like we have only 2 options here. I don't think Swerve and Hangman are winning. I don't think that's through getting in their own way. I think they'll have a little tease of that. I feel like either the 2 options are Joe retaining, because it hasn't been the longest time since him winning, and he's only had 1 defense. And that doesn't really count it out, but I don't know. I feel like they're not going to do that with Joe. I feel like the more predictable outcome is MJF winning, and I like that. I'm torn because I feel like they're going to go for the Swerve, ironically enough, in the sense of Joe's not going to lose. And it feels like that's a great call, because the problem is they've set up this whole thing with the Ops Dojo with Shibata, Hobbs, and Hook. I feel like they're going to tease a Hook interference again. Shock. But it feels like they don't want to have Joe lose the belt this early when you've just introduced all this stuff. However, it feels like makes more sense for MJF to win. And that's what I kind of like. Like, MJF, I don't know, I feel like if he's going to win it, it's going to be in like the most roll-up way possible. And I love that idea. It just, I don't know, I don't really know how they go about it. It's definitely between Joe and MJF. I'm gleaning, the brain makes more sense to keep it with Joe, to upset everyone, but then it's another waste of a contract similar to last year's with Christian. So, I don't really know what we're going to do. I feel like, I want Max to win. I feel like Max is the better option. World's End, MJF winning. And again, it won't be Swerve and Hangman, just because I feel like they've teased those guys teaming up for a while now. Truly, and it feels a bit early to kind of kill that. So, as much as I want that. And the thing is with this, anyone who wins is the right call. That's what's crazy. This is a great match on paper. I think it'll be really fun. And I just, honestly, whoever wins, It's good because they're all phenomenal wrestlers. I'm going to make the road call because I don't feel like a lot of people are going to call it. I'm going to say Samoa Joe retains. And I think that's quite wild to say by a lot of people. I just have this feeling that Joe's so ill. It's kind of like the Moxley one last year where it feels like this isn't ready to die yet. But then it's weird because I've got the thought process of, okay, it's too early for Joe to drop. Which means nothing in a lot of sense, but you think like that. But then it's also, this feels like this is where MJF wins. So it's like two colliding thoughts. I don't know. I'm gonna say Joe just to be different in a sense, but I think the more likely outcome is MJF winning. But I think Joe is the more shock and great. I think it's a great call because there's so much more mileage out of this Ops Dojo. It feels like it's just getting started, and I feel like it's designed to be a gimmick while he's on the champ rather than him losing the belt. I feel like that's the main thing, but. Hook will be involved in some way, and if he costs MJF the match, that'd be great heat. But, are we really going to be relying on Hook yet again? Come on. But this match will be fun. I'm going to predict Samoa Joe to retain, shot call, and I cannot wait for this match. I cannot wait for this card. It won't be the main event. We talk about the C2. The final will be the main event, surely. And good. I love the C2. It's the best shit ever. So, that was my predictions. I'm sorry this one was a bit more rushed, and I'm sorry it's so late. I really didn't mean to. It's been a day. So, yes, I hope you all enjoy World's End. We'll be here tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to watch it live. I don't know if I'll try and stay up or go to sleep or whatever. But I normally do a little instant reaction. Then I'll do my review tomorrow. So, I really hope you all enjoy World's End and our final AEW pay-per-view of the year. C2 final. I can't wait.